Let me straight away begin by asking you, and I just want to assure you that I'm not drawing you into the politics that has really played out, but it's important for you to step in right now and allay the fears that perhaps a lot of Indians would be having right now, given the fact that political parties have essentially raised this question about Covaxin and the fact that Covaxin is entered the phase 3 trials. Is there a cause of concern?
We must look at the entire context. There were two matters under consideration to the subject expert committee, and then a decision taken by the Drug Controller General. The first was the Serum Institute of India candidate presented, which is the recombinant adenovirus vector vaccine, and this encodes what's called the spike protein, and this was has gone through phase 3 trials elsewhere in the world and has been approved in the UK. There's a bridging trial which has gone on here, and that data and the global data was presented to the drug controller. The decision which was taken was that the entire, after detailed deliberations, the decision which was taken was the subject expert committee recommended for grant of permission for restricted use in emergency situation subject to certain regulatory conditions. This means that, what happens is that this other trial which is going on, the bridging trial, will continue, and this vaccine will be introduced, scaled up, and given to frontline workers and healthcare workers and priority settings with the data from the results coming in. Now, for the Bharat Biotech vaccine, they have done safety and immunogenicity studies, and they also have results in non-human primates, which suggest that this vaccine will work in humans. Phase 1 and phase 2 trials on safety and immunogenicity have been completed, and the phase 3 trial is ongoing. The kind of permission which the drug controller has given here is different, which says that there will be a very careful monitoring of the potential conditions where this could be tried out as if it in a clinical setting, i.e. with particular attention. And if that condition demands that this vaccine be used, it can be used, and the phase 3 trial will go. And as the phase 3 trial comes in, it can also come in for later authorization. So that's the summary.
Professor Raghavan, I also would like you to come in as far as the plan for the government. How does this work? For a country as big as ours, the target being 300 million to be vaccinated by sometime in August. How is the plan really going to work out, even though the dry runs have already taken place? But are there some bigger challenges that perhaps the government would be facing in the days to come?
Yes, it is a very big task ahead. And no one underestimates the task. We have done various other immunization programs on a large scale, and more regularly a childhood immunization and a maternal immunization program. But this is a much, much larger program, no doubt. So the inspiration for these programs to be put in place come from our general elections, where very complex, large-scale national programs are put in place. So that is one model. And this has been tried out in a variety of dry runs in different states, and another set of dry runs ongoing right now. This will look at the entire chain from manufacturing to fill and finish, to distribution chain, to vaccination, and checking whether vaccination is done once or twice. So the entire platform has been tested out. So when the vaccines are now ready to roll out, they will be transported using this chain, which will be electronically monitored by an IT backend to see that it reaches every location, and the vaccination will also be monitored. So I think this is an incredible effort of huge size, and a lot of rehearsals and trials have gone in for that.
Well, Dr. Vijayraghavan, we have spoken to several doctors over the last couple of hours just to try and understand the challenges that perhaps the government is essentially going to face. Today, we are talking about a vaccination which is primarily going to be given to only adults. So herein comes the question of awareness, because we've already seen some surveys that have been doing the rounds. One particular survey that I would like to quote, even though the respondents is just roughly about 11,000 itself. 50% of those respondents have essentially said that they are still going to be very cautious about getting themselves vaccinated. You have political leaders, you have religious leaders doing their bit, and in India, perhaps that is going to be even bigger challenge to get people convinced that this vaccination is for their own good.
Absolutely. I think, you stressed a very important point. Scientists, community leaders, political leaders, everyone, NGOs, state government, central government must all come together to explain every question. People will literally ask questions, a variety of kinds, and one should patiently explain that because, the vaccine is not an individual protection alone. It's a protection for the whole community. And unless most people are vaccinated, the community, the nation is not protected.
Dr. Vijayraghavan, today, perhaps almost every Indian would like to salute all our scientists, innovators who have basically worked day and night to ensure that this vaccine reaches every Indian. I would like to take this opportunity to ask you how challenging perhaps it has been for you, for your entire team working day and night. Take us through a little bit the journey of arriving at today with 2 vaccines that are going to be out, how difficult it has been over the last couple of months.
Well, before we do that, we must recognize and congratulate our healthcare workers who are dealing at the front lines in hospitals and nursing homes, everywhere else. Those who have administered tests, they have done a heroic job. And importantly, our people have done a heroic job in wearing masks, keeping distancing, and making every effort to keep the spread low. Now, the vaccine development itself, of course, our scientists and industry and our entire government system needs to be congratulated. And this is for the following reasons. India has been known for many years as a major vaccine producer, but it embarked this time, in addition, in vaccine development. And there are many, many vaccines underway in India of different kinds, thermostable ones, those which target multiple proteins. So our scientists have embarked on very interesting, forward-looking ventures, and that should be congratulated. They have worked with our regulatory agencies to make detailed presentations at every step. It's been very, very demanding and very tight, and they too need to be congratulated. The government has also made every effort to make processes more parallel rather than linear so that speed can be done. And this allows, for example, stockpiling even as the regulatory process is underway, so that should you go past the regulatory process, vaccines are immediately available. So this has been an incredible effort, 24/7 by all these people, and they also all need to be congratulated.
Dr. K. Vijayraghavan, before I let you go, I would also like to ask you this question as far as the government's entire strategy is concerned, because all this while we have seen Prime Minister saying that these vaccines are not only going to be for all Indians, but there would be a time perhaps in the near future that India would be ready to provide vaccines to other countries. How does that essentially work out? Because that's going to be a daunting task.
Well, Indian vaccine manufacturing is up to that task. India has always done both things. It's got vaccines for its people from internal manufacturing and from outside, and it's also exported vaccines for the world. This is because vaccination is something which, unless everyone is vaccinated, we are not all safe. So that's a very important point. It's, the other additional value for our manufacturing sector, for our vaccine sector, those are secondary. But importantly, this spirit of having everyone as one and together in our vaccination program is something which India has long held. It's been reiterated by our Prime Minister in multiple public gatherings over the last year. And therefore, in that spirit, India will continue to vaccinate others as well as itself.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vijayraghavan, for speaking to Republic TV and also putting this into perspective. What does this essentially mean? An indigenous vaccine, and also the target that essentially India has, not just vaccinating Indians, but also ensuring that India is in a position to supply these vaccines globally.